Hey everyone, I'm Shawn from the Buckeye Wedding Expo. For today's quick tips, we're talking to Bill from Amplified Entertainment on how to pack a dance floor. Bill,
Hey,
thanks
how
for
are you?
coming. Thanks for sharing these tips with us. I appreciate it. How are you today?
Good, good. Staying warm. Trying to at least.
So, we're going to be talking today about packing the dance floor. But first, I'd like to know a little bit more about Amplified Entertainment, about you, about your company. Tell us more.
Well, we've been in business, I want to say since 2013. Um, Amplified Digital Entertainment. We've been here doing DJing and parties and everything, certified with the state and everything since that time. Um, we're passionate about it. So we love doing this. This is, kind of my only thing. So this is my full-time gig.
Passion does help. What's that saying? It's if you love what you do, you never work a day.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't feel like work, right?
So you guys primarily do weddings and things like that, right? And packing a dance floor. So when it comes to um, the right songs to play and all of that, tell us how you pack a dance floor. What recommendations do you make to couples so they can give you the information so you can pack the dance floor?
Well, we need at least 10 to 20 must-play songs, of course. Just like any DJ, we need to get some kind of idea of what your guests like. Um, we prefer not getting a full list where it's just a strict list, just the bride and groom's list, because sometimes maybe the guests may have like all different types of music they like. It's not just what the bride and groom like. So giving a very open, I guess, open list where these are the songs we love. We can focus on that maybe later in the evening, but typically, we want to entertain everybody. But if the bride and groom just want it for just them, we can do that as well. So it's totally up to them. But if you want to pack dance floor, the best way to do that is kind of give the DJ some way to be creative and use some songs they think will get people out there dancing as well.
And is there like are there good songs, bad songs? How do you determine if it's a good song or a bad song? Like if someone gives you a list of music, if it's not good, do you tell them it's not good? Do you how do you or do you like guide them to things
Um,
that will work? How does that work?
yeah, there's no nice way of just saying, "Hey, the music is terrible," but what you can do is let them know that maybe this song may hit or miss, but I mean, if it's something maybe it's a song you don't realize that they may have something in common with a group where they're out there singing their hearts out to it. So you pretty much are at the whim of knowing that going off what they think is going to work. So yeah, we'll play whatever. I mean, it's just it depends on the vibe and what they're going for and what they're looking to do with it. So we'll recommend this song may work better if it's a like a song they're going to sing along with more towards the end of the evening, that sort of thing. So.
So when you talk about vibe, I think vibes are different for DJs, like especially with social media and things like that. And you see, people with their hands in the air all the time, or these unique mixes and things like that. Is there a style of DJ that Amplified has, or different styles, or how would you define the style, if you will, of Amplified?
I think for us, it's we all have our own style. That's what's great about doing this is we try to pick out the best DJ for each couple. Some DJs are more into like rock and country type stuff, and some DJs are able to just do all kinds of genres. Like for myself, I can do everything from 70s to 2010. I'm not as good with maybe some of the trap stuff in that, but I mean, um, I'm pretty much able to mix just anything. But I don't think we have like a certain style just for the company. I think we're able to kind of um, hone in on kind of what they're looking for when it comes to like the music. If they know they're going to love 80s, 90s, and 2000s, we have no problem playing that. But and I think all the wedding music nowadays, a lot of it is the typical stuff. A lot of brides and grooms will try to veer from that, but um, we throw in some of the classics and then jump into a lot of whatever they have. So there's no certain style, I guess you could say. But
Okay. How do you how do you entertain such a large group of people? When it comes to a bar or something like that, you go in and there's a certain, you went in that bar because it did whatever music, or How, when at a wedding with so many people, how do you entertain such a diverse genre of people?
I would say playing just about everything that you think is going to get them out there dancing, and you're kind of reading the room. So you know when they're bobbing their heads, you know when they're getting up dancing. If they're, they're just standing there and they're not doing anything, you're like, oh, this isn't working. So we got to get out of this and go into something else. So um, just being able to read the room and look at the age group you've got. If you've got people that look like they're in their 30s, 40s, around that, you're jumping into 90s, you're jumping into 80s, stuff like that. So reading the room is probably one of the most important things.
And if someone gives you a list, we talked about lists earlier about, a certain amount of lists, but, with Spotify and Apple Music and all these things that are so prominent, if someone gives you a list of 200 songs and they just don't know what to do with it, if they just like plop it on you and go, how do you handle someone that goes, this is what I want, but you don't have to play everything, but how do you guide someone that doesn't really know?
I would just talk to them and let the couple know that what we would do is probably start out with something a little old school at first, older stuff at first, kind of because you got the older crowd there, of course. So you want to cater to all of them at first and have fun with them and kind of jump back and forth. Because if you stay just in one genre, then you're going to lose people. So you want to kind of bring the young and old together. So what I usually suggest is you do a few songs that are like old school, and then you throw a couple of new songs in there. And you're kind of pulling both groups together onto the dance floor.
Okay. And how do events play into this? I mean, do do you have to keep in mind the events that are going and how they blend into the dance floor, or are they completely separate? How does the timeline kind of make or break a dance floor?
That's huge because the more you open and close a dance floor, obviously you don't get many people dancing. The type of event, so if it's not a wedding, you're jumping into something like quinceanera, so you're sticking with that vibe of like the Spanish music and stuff like that. So it really depends on the event, and like you said, the timeline's important too because if the photographer's pulling them out for pictures, sunset pictures here and there, and they're constantly on the go, and they're not on the dance floor won't be as busy. That's one of my tips too in there as well.
And so you guys will talk to them ahead of time and kind of work through recommendations on the timeline and how it will affect the dance floor. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, usually our timeline when we do ours, we don't do like a timeline per se. So what we do is we do an order of events, and we usually recommend doing that grand entrance going into the first dance because all eyes are on them. They don't have to worry about Photoshop anybody out. You kind of have everybody at a place and point. They're all at the tables cheering them on when they come in. So you don't have people getting up, getting food, getting drinks, stuff like that. And then if they're doing any type of welcome or toast, and then after that we typically do our obviously dinner, and then it's just one event after another. Right when we get done with toast, we're jumping into all the events we can, and then uh, open the dance floor up from there. Um, Maybe close at one time to do like if they're going to do like the anniversary dance, gala dance, that sort of thing. But all the other events we would recommend doing, right after dinner.
And does equipment, does setup, does the venue, how does that all play into the dance floor as far, because you go to some websites and you see like a big long list of just equipment and you're like, I don't know what that is and how that works. How does all of those extra things play into the dance floor? Because I would assume timeline would be one of the most important, but there's a lot of things, right, that kind of play into having the packed dance floor.
Yeah, I mean, how big your dance floor is. If you've only got 50 people and you got this huge dance floor, it's going to look very daunting. People are going to question, oh my God, look at, they're out there dancing and it's just this huge floor. So the smaller the dance floor, usually you pack that up and it just looks like it's full and it makes it more fun. People are even dancing around by the tables even at that point. So the size of the dance floor, I would say the size of the venue is huge too, because if you've got like only 50 people, you don't want to do an event at a big venue. So you want to make sure you consider when you're looking at venues how many people you're going to have, and you don't want to have too big of a venue where it just seems like a tiny wedding.
All right.
I guess the other thing with the equipment, we don't charge anything extra to bring subs or do different stuff like that. We play it off whatever venue it is. If it's a smaller venue, we'll just have just our top speakers, just the other speakers, no subs. If it's a bigger venue, then we typically will have like subs and stuff like that for the larger ones. So
So you kind of customize the equipment to match the venue.
Yeah.
Okay. And that probably, too loud
Yeah. Yeah.
is sometimes that we hear. Does that help keep things level in the venue so grandma is not complaining about the volume of music?
Yeah, that and speaker placement I think is important too. One of the other tips that I have that I was going to mention later was the fact that if you're going to have the DJ, you want to have them by the dance floor. If you have them further away from the dance floor, you're blaring everybody out as you're trying to reach that dance floor. So wherever the speakers are, you want to have them kind of close to the dance floor. You don't want to have the DJ way across the room, and then you got to blare everybody out to get to that music to hit the dance floor. So that's important too. So, and then also when we place our speakers, a good example is when we do events at like Rosewood or somewhere where the dance floor is more in the center of the room, we're able to actually turn our speakers, and you want to position them in more towards the dance floor as opposed to just leaving them straight on with everybody else, because that's where you want the music to go anyway. So just keep being conscientious of how you position your speakers in the directions they're facing to. So
There's a lot of things that go into packing a dance floor: the floor plan, the venue size, the equipment. Uh, I'm going to let you take it away now and kind of put all of that into a nice little pretty package and share with everyone the quick tips to pack a dance floor.
If you want to pack dance floor, the first thing we would start out with would be a group photo. It's a great way to open your dance floor up. You get everybody out there. You throw in a song that gets their arms up in the air and everybody's excited and stuff. And that's the best way to open a dance floor. It's easier to open a packed dance floor than it is to fill a dance floor. So that's one of the number one things. Also, where the couple are. So wherever you're at is going to be where the party's at. So if you're at the bar, the party's at the bar. If you're just standing on the dance floor, people are going to kind of congregate around you and dance around you. So it's ultimately they're there to see you. So if you're on the dance floor, it makes a huge difference on that. If you want to have a good dance, party for your wedding. Again, make sure the DJ is set up close to the dance floor, especially the speakers and stuff, because you don't want to have to blare anybody out. Another key element is lighting. So if you have a very bright lit up room, it's going to be difficult to get people out there dancing because they're a little shy with that. So if you have dim to no lights and just have maybe dance floor lighting, that's the best thing. Another thing is, speaking of lighting, another way to entice people to have fun at your wedding, to get on the dance floor, is picking up those glow wands. So the glow wands are fun too, and it looks like a fun party. Consider a late night snack too. That's another idea. Late night snack or mini desserts to kind of give people energy to go out there and dance. That's another good tip. We prefer guests doing an Irish exit. So don't come up, grab the bride and groom, walk them to the door, do that Irish exit where you just say bye or text them or whatever. Let them continue the party, and I'm sure they'll see you after that. Unless it's really important to them to say bye to grandma, of course, and stuff like that. But the couple should never walk the guest to the front door, because that signals to everybody when they see them standing by the front door that the party's over. Head out. Another thing is, don't fake an exit. So if you do a fake exit, generally the party is over after that. So you want to make sure that if you're going to do an exit, it's just that's the end of the night, that sort of thing. And if you are doing an exit, another thing to consider is doing a last dance song, just you both. Just the two of you kind of having that last moment while everybody's outside and we're giving them instructions on how not to catch the bride and groom on fire, or the couple or whatever. So.
That is a lot of great information, Bill. I appreciate you sharing all of that. Packing a dance floor is an art, and it sounds like you put a lot of effort into making sure that all of the colors are chosen to paint that canvas. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon. Thanks.
Bye.